Okay, we're on 378, 379. We're going to read part of the story together here. This story is called How Night Came from the Sea, and it's a story from the country of Brazil. It's being retold by Mary Joan Gerson and illustrated by Carla Golembi. The genre here, if you look down at the bottom of page 378, it said this is, no, I stopped because I kept hearing people bouncing their chairs and it distracted me, and now I'm going to refocus, but that's kind of a warning to sit correctly or you're going to lose a dojo point. So if we look down at the bottom of 378, we have a genre, and this week's genre is myths. And now it says myths are traditional stories that try to explain how things in nature came to be. Think about how you would explain the cycle of day and night as you read this story. Good job, that was kind of together. So myths are things that developed many, many years ago. Yeah, Rajan, go ahead. Just stretching, okay. Myths are stories that were developed many, many years ago to try to help explain things that happen in the world that maybe today we have a better understanding of how they happen, but at the time, like thousands of years ago, you may not be able to understand them. Our goal is to think about how you would explain the cycle of day and night as you read the story. On the next page down towards the bottom is our question of the week. And our question of the week is, how have people explained the pattern of day and night? So we're going to want to keep that in mind. I'm turning the page now to 380. Long, long ago, at the very beginning of time, when the world had just been made, there was no light. It was always daytime. No one had ever heard of or sunset, starlight, or moonbeams. There were no night creatures such as owls and tigers, and no night flowers that secretly opened their petals at dusk. There was no soft night air, heavy with perfume. Sunlight always filled the sky. The light jumped from at the top of the palm trees, and it gleamed. Okay, gleamed is going to be one of our vocabulary words coming up after this. Gleamed from the backs of the alligators waiting at the edge of the sea. Everywhere there was only sunlight and heat. In that time, the great African goddess Lamanya, I think is how you say, is that I? That might be an I. I think that's an I. Amanya, I'm not sure if I'm saying that correctly, so no, I'm not sure if I'm saying the beginning part of that right with the I-E. I know the J is probably a Y, I'm guessing, in the way that it's pronounced. But I apologize if I'm not saying it correctly. It doesn't give me the pronunciation. So Imanya dwelt in the depths of the sea, and Imanya had a daughter who decided to marry one of the sons of the earth people. With sorrow and with longing, the daughter left her home in the deep ocean and came to live with her husband in the land of very good. Imanya's daughter loved her husband, and she loved the magic of the daylight that he showed her. The shimmering, another one of our vocab words, shimmering sand of the beach. The rows and rows of cocoa and sugar cane baking in the sunlight, and the sparkling jewels and feathered costumes worn in harvest festivals. Okay, so when I want to know if a statement is a generalization, I look for clue words. Clue words such as all, none, most, few, always, never, and in general can indicate that a statement may be a generalization. I see that no is a clue word in the sentence, there were no night creatures such as owls and tigers. The author here is making a broad statement. Okay, so we're looking at page 380. We're going to look for another generalization. So we're looking for a generalization, and I want to know, how do you know that it is a generalization? I'm going to read it. You look for the generalization. It's probably not the one about the tigers and the owls, okay? Long, long ago, at the very beginning of time, when the world had just been made, there was no night. It was always daytime. No one had ever heard of sunrise or sunset, starlight or moonbeams. There were no night creatures such as owls and tigers, and no night flowers that secretly opened their petals at dusk. There was no soft air, heavy with perfume. Sunlight always filled the sky. The light jumped from the coconuts at the top of the palm trees and gleamed from the backs of alligators waiting at the edge of the sea. Everywhere there was only sunlight and brightness and heat. In that time, the great goddess Yamanya dwelt in the depths of the sea, and Yamanya had a daughter who decided to marry one of the sons of earth people. With sorrow and with longing, the daughter left her home in the deep ocean and came to live with her husband in the land of daylight. Okay, let's see if anybody found any generalizations. Maddie? Very good. What was the key word there? Excellent. Very good. Always is a key one. There are a few more where they said there were no, but it kind of was in the same vein as no owls and night animals and tigers like that. So, okay, Autumn. It was always daytime. Yes, that's the one that Maddie came up with. Rajan. Which one? Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's still a broad statement. Mackenzie. Yeah, I'm holding.
There were no night creatures such as owls and tigers.
Yep, we talked about how that's not the one we were looking for. Okay.
When it says no one heard about sunrise or sunset.
Okay, yep, good. Good. Macy? Yep. Yep. Very good. The always there is the key. Okay, what are some key features of a myth that are present on these pages? How do we know that this is a myth? Share with a partner. Order. What are some elements of this that let you know it's a myth? Okay. Other things that let you know it's a myth. Ava. Yeah. We know that there aren't any human-like beings that live in the water. That's kind of,
Then I got rid of.
Okay, so that in itself kind of lends us to maybe know it's a myth. Autumn, we have that now. So they're trying to explain nature. Very good. Anybody else? Hadley. Okay, anybody else? Trace. Yeah, so we're trying to explain nature. Braxton, last one.
Unless if she actually was human and she could breathe water, she wouldn't be able to come back up to surface.
Okay. It also talks about goddesses, and I've been around for 35 years, and I've never met a goddess here on Earth. Maybe they exist, but it seems like maybe that's also a bit of a myth thing. Okay, we're on 382. But with time, the light became too bright and hard for Imanya's daughter. The sight of the workers bent over in the fields day after day hurt her eyes and her heart. And finally, another vocabulary word, even the brilliant colors worn by the dancers at the festival burned through her drooping eyelids. Oh, how I wish night could come, she cried. Here there is always daylight, but in my mother's there are cool and dark, quiet corners. Her husband listened to her with great sorrow, for he loved her. What is the night? He asked her. Tell me about it, and perhaps I can find a little of it for you. Night, she said, is like the quiet after crying, or the end of the storm. It is a dark, cool blanket that covers everything. If only we could have a little of the darkness of my mother's kingdom to rest our eyes for some time. Her husband called at once his three most servants. I'm sending you on a very important, he told them. You are to go to the kingdom of Imanya, who dwells in the depths of the seas. You must beg her to give you some of the of night so that my wife will stop longing to return to her mother's kingdom and will be able to find happiness on land with me. There he's telling his faithful servants. Maybe. Okay, so I think that if I were used to living only in darkness, seeing bright colors would hurt my eyes too. I can picture Imanya's daughter having drooping eyelids because she is not used to daylight. She can barely keep her eyes open because she is seeing so much. And even pretty colors are now painful to look at. We're going to look at the first paragraph on 382. We want to know, what did the author mean by saying that the sight of the workers hurt the daughter's heart as well as her eyes? What does that mean? Hey, Gavin, right now we don't need anything to write with. So we're going to read it again. Here it is. But with time, the light became too bright and hard for Imanya's daughter. The sight of workers bent over in the fields day after day hurt her eyes and her heart. What does the author mean it hurt her eyes and her heart? Go ahead and talk with the partner. Freeman, what did the author mean? Why? Okay, anybody else something to add? Elizabeth.
Maybe because she might have to because
So seeing them working what made her something because she might have to leave?
Yeah, because it's too bright, so she has to leave.
I don't see the connection between having to leave and the workers, though. That's the issue.
No, I mean, I think it's like, like, it's like the workers in the life.
Well, I think that seeing the workers day after day is what made her eyes hurt as well as her heart. Jackson.
Um, I think another thing to add is, yeah, because they're out there working. And another thing is because she met her dad because they're like out in the sun all day and like she can't stand it and she might think they can't.
Okay. The combination of kind of what everybody said that um, she's kind of a nice person. It probably makes her a little upset that they have to work every single day in the sun with no real break from the sun. But it also the sun, like I think Elizabeth was trying to allude to, is making her a little homesick. All the light makes her want to go back to where it's dark. Yeah, but I don't feel like we quite got that. This might be Imania, Raiminia, or however you say it. I'm not exactly sure. And there's one of the three best servants there. The other two are on this page at the bottom. The three servants set forth after a long, dangerous, through the surging waves of the, over the cliffs of underwater sand and past the razor-sharp reefs of coral. They arrived at the palace of Imania. Throwing at the feet of the goddess, they begged her for some night to carry back with them. Stand up, you foolish men, she commanded. How can you beg a mother whose child is suffering? And without a second lost, she packed a big bag of night for them to carry throughout the currents of water. But, she said, you must not open this until you reach my daughter, because only she can calm the night spirits I have packed inside. The three servants pulled the big bag alongside them as they swam back through the cool, swirling sea. Finally, they emerged into the bright sunlight of the shore and followed the path home, bearing the big bag upon their head. Soon they heard strange sounds. They were the voices of all the night creatures squeezed inside. The servants had never heard this strange. That's another one of your vocabulary words of night screeching before, and they shook with fear. The first servant stared at the screaming bag of voices and began to let us drop this bag of night and run away as fast as we can, said the second servant. Another vocab word, said the third, trying to sound brave. I'm going to open the bag and see what makes all those terrible sounds. Well, he was told not to do that.
Yeah.
Okay, so we want to describe the journey of the servants using some of the text from 385 to support your description. So with a partner, talk about their journey and be ready to describe it if your stick is called. Braxton.
It was probably pretty bad because with the circling current and all that weight in the bag, the circling current would probably make other waves that were pushing them down, and then the weight from the bag will hold them down too.
Okay, so they're carrying probably a lot, and the circling current is probably hard to swim against. Parker, anything to add?
Well, the journey was probably very long for how many details it is about it.
Mm-hmm. Long journey, you gotta swim in the ocean. Most land people probably don't want to swim that far in the ocean, and then once you get there, you're still in the ocean. So that would be hard. Anybody else? Sadly, yeah, kind of a dangerous journey. Yep. Okay, so I'm gonna model here. I don't know what the word emerged means. I do, but I'm modeling, so I'm pretending. But I can look for clue words in paragraph 2. I see that the first sentence is about the servants in the sea. In the next sentence, they are on land. The servants have come out of the sea to get to the land, so emerged must mean came out. Very good. Okay, why did Imanya warn the servants not to open the bag until they warn the servants not to open the bag until they reached her daughter? Talk with the partner and be ready to give an answer. Mackenzie, what did you and Chase discuss? Okay, Mackenzie's going to talk.
And also that they were told that the daughter can be summoned.
Okay, so only her daughter can quiet those night creatures. I was about ready to call on somebody else to get that part, but you caught it at the end. The last page or pages that we're going to do are these next two. So he laid the bag on the ground and opened it, its sealing waxed with his teeth. Out rushed the night beasts, the night birds, and all the night insects. Out jumped the stars and the moon. The servants ran terrified into the jungle. Okay, so can you imagine the servant setting the bag down and feeling afraid as the bag moves, shakes, and makes all kinds of noises? I picture the servant struggling with the bag, like the bag's trying to move away from him and biting hard on the wax ceiling to open it. By visualizing this, it helps me to monitor and adjust my understanding of the story as I read, trying to create that mental picture of what might actually be happening. Like kind of like making a television show in your brain, right? All right. What words does the author repeat on 386? Look at 386 and see what words. Braden, what words did she keep repeating?
No.
Yeah, over and over. Night 3 times. It reinforces that the animals that are coming out are creatures of the night. Very good. Okay, so now we're going to look at your vocabulary words so that you guys can do your vocabulary worksheet. It's going to take me just a second to get back there. All right, I'm going to try a different route with this. Okay, this first word, is brilliant. Now, brilliant can sometimes mean smart, but sometimes brilliant I better not have anybody come up to me when I hand out the vocab sheet and go, Mr. Red, what does brilliant mean? And then I'll say, didn't I just go over those vocabulary words? And you'll say, yeah. And I'll say, well, weren't you listening? And you'll go, yeah, I was. But in reality, you might be playing with something, looking somewhere else, not participating. So brilliant can mean smart, but sometimes brilliant can mean sparkling or shining brightly. What does brilliant mean? Sparkling or
shining brightly.
So this diamond right here is brilliant. You see the brilliance of it, the light shining off of it and how it's sparkling? A brilliant floodlight shone into the dark. That would be like having a big giant flashlight lighting up the darkness. A chest of brilliant gold coins glittered at us. Imagine opening a treasure chest and look at the gold shining and sparkling. As we left the dark cave, the brilliant sunlight on the water hurt our eyes. Like sometimes when you look at the water and you can see all the sparkliness like in the air around it. Is a piece of coal brilliant? No, why not? Talk with a friend.
It's literally the color effect. No, it's
Macy. Macy, I can't hear you because people are finishing up their conversation. Dirty and black and dusty, yep. All right, I'm going to list a few things. If they're brilliant, you say brilliant. If they're not, you say dull. An emerald and diamond necklace. Brilliant. An old rusted car.
dull.
Probably dull. Night lights at a baseball stadium. Yeah, very good, very good. What?
Cool, kind of. For the other concept of brilliant, it kind of is because that's what used the power tree.
Yeah, but maybe in whoever discovered you could burn coal was being brilliant. It was a smart way. Okay, this is a chorus. A chorus is anything spoken or sung all at the same time. A chorus is anything spoken or sung at the same time. What's a chorus?
Something spoken or sung at the same time.
Something spoken or sung at the same time. So a choir performs its song in chorus. See how they're all singing at once and playing music at once? Mm-hmm. The delay caused a chorus of groans. So it'd be like when I say time for a super happy fun time math jamboree and you guys all go. Yeah, usually you guys go, oh. Coyotes greeted the stars with a chorus of howls. That would be like a whole bunch of coyotes going, howl, howl, howl. Yeah, howling, yeah. When Mom asked if we wanted to watch a movie, there was a chorus of us all saying yes. Okay, where are you likely to hear a chorus of grunts and oinks? Talk to a friend.
In a farm. A farm. A farm.
Gavin. Probably at a farm, maybe in a pig pen. Hadley, what's up? Yep, can be. But in this case, it's something said together or sung together. This little girl, I don't think it's fair to probably call her a coward. It says a young child may be a coward about facing the unknown. A coward is a person who lacks courage or is easily afraid. So a coward is a person who lacks courage or is easily afraid. Think of Scooby-Doo. A coward is also someone who runs from danger or trouble, like Scooby-Doo. So the word is coward. It's a person who lacks courage, is easily made afraid, or someone who runs from danger and
trouble.
Okay, my bulldog is a coward. I don't know why it doesn't give me any more than that. No soldier wants to be a coward in battle. Can chorus mean wet? Mm-mm. At first, I was a coward about jumping into deep water, but now I am fearless. If you are very nervous, but you still give a speech, could you be described as a coward?
No.
No, because you braved it out. Okay. And this one is the last one. Gleamed, your turn.
Gleamed.
Okay, gleamed means flashed or beamed with light. What does gleam mean?
Flash or beam with light.
The beam of light from the lighthouse gleamed into the sky. You can see the beam of light coming out of there. The cat's eyes gleamed in the flashlight beam. Dawn gleamed in the eastern sky. I struck a match in the dark and it gleamed for an instant before the wind blew it out. If water gleamed briefly, what happened? Talk to a friend. Oh, we do have one more, my bad. There's one more after this. Julia, what does it mean if the water gleamed briefly? Yes, very good. All right, in an effort to maybe try and make sure we get through everything today. Shimmering, look, that's what I was talking about, how the water could be brilliant or whatever other ones. Shimmering means gleaming or shining faintly or unsteadily. So shimmering means gleaming or shining faintly or unsteadily. Like water is unsteady when it gleams because of the waves and how it changes. So sunlight and waves create shimmering water. Shimmering light made the scene seem mysterious. The jar of fireflies gave off a shimmering light. Moira wore a dress of shimmering green silk. Which is more likely to give off shimmering light, a spotlight or the moon in a cloudy sky? That's a good question. Remember, it says gleaming or shining faintly or unsteadily. A spotlight or a moon in a cloudy sky? Which one's faint and unsteady? Bradley. I would agree, probably the moon in the cloudy sky. Now, I think that there's going to be some of these that are kind of tricky because some of them are fairly similar. Name, number, and date on this. You're welcome. Because I think that like brilliant and gleaming and shimmering could be challenging on some of these. So we're going to review the definitions. So hopefully you can tell the difference before you start working. Porter, get your name, number, and date on them. Okay. That's every day I have to do that. Okay, so we have brilliant, gleamed, and shimmering. So when I look at them, Brilliant to me literally means that it's like sparkling. Think of like a diamond in the light. Gleam means that like I'm taking a flashlight and I'm shining it at something. And shimmering means that it kind of changes and flutters and flicks like water in the sun. Does everybody understand the difference? 10 blanks, 5 words. How many times are you going to use each? 2. Brilliant, I think about jewels. Gleamed, think about a lighthouse or a flashlight. And shimmering, think about water when the light shines on it, how it's changing. Questions? Okay. Get to work. What? Get to work.